What's up everyone and welcome back to my survival series. Today we're gonna continue our journey for a glorious Sky Island empire. By the way, if you have a great idea for a name, comment it down below. In this video I'll explain how the trading hall works and build the next island, which will be a lot smaller. Anyways, let's get started. Here we are at our amazing trading hall that we built last time. First, let me show you what I can do when using the trading hall and then explain what's going on behind the scenes. In total, there are 64 slots for villagers. Each corner has 2 groups of 8 slots. I plan on having 32 librarians, 16 masons, 8 farmers, 5 clerics, a toolsmith, an armorer, and a weaponsmith. This might not seem like a lot when you look at the size of the trading hall. I never meant it to be compact or have hundreds of villagers. Now for the functionalities. Hitting this note block, I can lock a slot, so no villager can get in there. This will be useful for organizing them. Now this note block removes the floor for a split second. This will send the villagers away, but where do they go? For that matter, we have these 2 note blocks at the center. The one on the right will set the switches so that the villagers that will be sent away will get turned into zombie villagers. The one on the left will send them to their death. So whenever you don't like a villager or you don't want to make the other villagers raise the prices when killing them with a sword, then just murder them silently. Each of these switches work for a whole corner. Now for the centerpiece, we can go down a level to reach this part. From here we can manage where to send the villagers to. As I mentioned, there are 8 groups and I can choose to send them to one of them. But first, this is where the villagers arrive. If I now request a villager, I can put minecarts in here and then press this button. One of them will come forward where I can set the trades. Here I will do the trade locking. This means I'll get the best trades possible and then send them away using this button. To decide where to send them to, I will place an item frame with an arrow here. There's a comparator behind this block to read the item frame. I'll try to make cool map arts and put them around the arrow to indicate the group I will send the villagers to. Now for the next part, I'll just use FreeCam to get around better. It looks a bit messy, but it's somewhat organized. I color coded it so that I myself don't get lost in here. Let's start with the blue one. This one is the input of the villagers. This is where they will arrive from the villager breeder that I will build later in this video. The cactus destroys the minecart and the detector ray will retract the piston for a brief amount of time and then push the villagers over to the centerpiece. Now once I'm done trade locking, they will be sent over here onto the white tracks. White concrete stands for general tracks. Now this part is what's controlled with the framed arrow that I was talking about. It retracts the rails depending on the redstone signal, and because of the feature that mud blocks aren't full blocks, the minecarts will clip through the mud, similar to the storage system. The villagers will take a bit of damage, but nowhere enough to kill them. Now let's look at this track. Each track leads to one group of 8 villagers. They will enter the bubble column, go through the scaffolding, and then take the first slot that is empty and not locked. Each slot consists of a light blue circuit, a lime circuit, and a yellow one. Let's go over all of them. First, the light blue one. This one retracts the floor to send the villagers in their slots to the zombie or the death pit. That's all it does. By the way, don't mind if the rails are facing the wrong way. There are still a couple of things I need to fix. Next up is the lime circuit. It detects whenever a villager enters or leaves a slot. This is done with the string up top or the one at the bottom. Because I didn't want the string to be visible, I had to make 2 instead of 1. Detecting when a villager stands on string while he is in the slot would make the string visible or even the observer. Anyways, this outputs a signal to the T flip-flop at the back and lock the cell when it gets occupied or unlock it when the villager leaves. Last but not least, the yellow circuit. This is a very simple one. It is the locking mechanism. The note block is hooked up to 2 T flip-flops, one to light up the redstone lamp to indicate whether a slot is locked or not, and one at the back to actually lock the slot. Now, what if all the slots are occupied or locked and I try to send a villager to that group? This is where the overflow protection comes in. It is simply this purple track that the villagers follow back to the blue track and end up back at the center. For the final 2 circuits, which are the red and the orange one, they switch the tracks depending on where I want to send the villagers. The red one controls the switch for the zombie chamber and the orange one the switch for the lava pit. Each group has a separate zombie chamber and lava pit, but one note block controls a whole corner. The zombification chamber is this small thing that I have seen on the Hermitcraft server. I don't know who the original designer is, but I've seen it on Impulse's channel. As to how it works, this is where the zombie will sit. The villager will arrive next to it and hit the string, which will hold the minecart in place. Once the villager turned into a zombie whose hitbox is lower when in a minecart, the string will trigger another signal to release the minecart with the zombie villager. Now this minecart will go back to the bubble elevator. That's about it. This project took me a very long time to make. I started on the early designs of the trading hall even before I started this Minecraft world. Now let's fix up the trading hall so that it's ready to use. Now I hope I fixed all the little mistakes I made and it is ready to be stocked with villagers. Doesn't it look amazing at night? Anyways, for stocking the trading hall, we'll have to build a villager breeder over here as well. I'll use the same design as last time, but add a little something to it. Let's get to it. First, let's craft up all the materials and check what resources we still have to gather. Since I want to use ochre frog lights, I'll have to get tempered frogs and bring them over to the frog light farm. All I have to do now is to AFK at the farm for a bit to get all the froglets we need, and then we can start building. Alright, that's the villager breeder. I tried out a different palette for the island again. I don't think I have ever built with sandstone before, so this was a lot of fun to build. Next, we have to bring 2 villagers from our starter house over here to get this thing running. And finally, both villagers found their dream job. While we wait for the baby villagers, we can build the road over to the trading hall. I think it looks pretty cool to have the track stand on top of small floating islands. Let's get to farming the resources. Now I have gathered all we need to connect the 2 islands together. Now sit back and enjoy the time lapse. I am very happy the way it turned out. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Now let me explain how it works. The note block on the right simply releases a minecart that pulls out a villager. Let's follow him all the way to the training hall and see where he ends up. As you can see, I made a little side entrance and now the villager enters the blue rail line. Let's go to the center to see whether he arrived there. Now I could trade lock him already and send him to a slot, but that'll have to wait till next time. This note block kills off the villagers in the breeder. This is useful when there are simply too many of them and they start to lag out the game. The note block that you saw next to that one permanently opens the lava pit, so when I know I won't need any villagers for now, I can sort of turn off the villager breeder. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as the others. Next time we'll start stocking the trading hall and go on a big quest. It will be the last episode of phase 1. I am really excited to start working on the perimeter and get into more projects. Make sure you're subscribed to not miss any of that. I will see you next time.